Hey, what's up guys? Gons here for the Face Like the Sun YouTube channel. Now, over the course of the last few months, there's been a lot of talk about climate change. The whole climate change conference in Paris, Obama talking about it, global leaders talking about it, even linking it to terrorism. And I've covered some of that stuff over the past few weeks, and I'll leave links to all the videos pertaining to that whole topic that I've covered. But I found out today, out of all days, I unplugged for a couple days, and so I've been out of the loop, but I found out today at church from a fellow band member that there is a major gas leak in Southern California. In fact, it's about an hour and a half northwest of where I'm at right now. Now I thought, okay, yeah, gas leak, yeah, those things happen, whatever. But then I looked it up and my goodness, it's a pretty bad leak. According to KTLA-5, which is the local Los Angeles news station out here, reported on Christmas Day, ongoing SoCal gas leak seeps the joy out of Christmas for Porter Ranch residents. And it talks about how the people of Porter Ranch had to be removed. Over 2,000 people were evacuated because of this leak. And in this article, it states that the Southern California Gas Company natural gas well began leaking at a rate of 110,000 pounds an hour. That's quite a bit of gas leaking. And the gas that's leaking is methane. And there was a couple other stories that talked about, the displacement of families during this Christmas time and all this stuff, trying to make it sort of a special interest story. But here's the footage that's gone viral today, and everyone's, sort of sharing it and talking about it now just because it's, the whole footage is out. And now that I've seen it, I'm seeing it everywhere because I'm back online. But doing a little bit of back research into methane in general, according to the EPA, methane is the second most prevalent greenhouse gas emitted in the United States from human activities. And pound for pound, it says the comparative impact on CH4, which is methane, on climate change is more than 25 times greater than CO2 over a 100-year period. That's quite a bit. And then back in 2010, an article was published, Methane Causes Vicious Cycle in Global Warming. And this article goes through basically the dangers of methane and how it's way more destructive than CO2, although there are certain things that are better, I guess, because, for example, methane only stays in the atmosphere for 10 years rather than CO2, which stays up longer, allegedly. And then another article from 2009, Methane Impact on Global Warming Much Greater Than Thought. Methane has a much greater impact on global warming than previously thought, according to a new study that can change the way the world tackles global warming. And it goes on and on. And according to Wikipedia here, which I know it's not the greatest source, but just to inform you, it says that methane emission will have 29 times the impact on temperature of a carbon dioxide emission of the same mass over the following 100 years. So, in other words, methane is way more intense and detrimental to the environment than CO2, and all we hear about is CO2 tax. We even heard Elon Musk at this climate change conference in Paris talk about we need a carbon tax. Meanwhile, Elon Musk is from California. Meanwhile, you have 150 million pounds of methane pouring into the atmosphere out here. Now, I live, again, about an hour and a half from this place, and maybe that accounts for how cold it is right now because it's trapping all the heat up in the atmosphere. And of course, you guys that live in other parts of the world that are much colder, you're going to call me a wuss and all this stuff because it's 40 degrees out here. And to us in California, especially Southern California, 40 degrees is pretty cold. So in any case, I'm not complaining about it. I'm just saying it's been much colder than normal, almost 10 degrees colder than the average winter around this time in Southern California. So perhaps this 150 million pounds of methane has something to do with it. Now, in any case, they're trying to figure out how to stop it, and they say there's nothing they can do at the moment. But the greater picture here, in terms of, if you want to call it conspiracy, if you want to call it false flag, is the fact that there was a global climate conference happening, and this was never mentioned. Because this leak started back in October. It's been leaking for over 2 months. I mean, that in itself is very strange. It goes to show that mainstream really does control the narrative of the world, a fabricated reality, if you will. I mean, this didn't hit the radar at all, and I live an hour and a half away, and I didn't hear about it till today. And then furthermore, the fact that leaders must have known about this, but they chose to ignore it, goes to show that what they're saying at these conferences and at these press conferences and everything else is just rubbish. It's nonsense. It's just all fabricated hot air, and there's no substance whatsoever. And it's all about creating chaos, and that's probably why they've allowed the leak to just continue. And you would think they'd figure out ways to stop this thing. I mean, they're saying it's going to be the worst leak since the BP oil spill. That's pretty bad. It doesn't look like it's going to improve, so I'm going to keep an eye on this. And some of you guys might be like, hey, why don't you just drive out there and check out what's going on? Well, first off, I don't want to put myself in harm's way if I don't have to. And number two, a drive from where I'm at, even though it's not very far, it's only about 80 miles northwest of me, will take an hour and 20 minutes, an hour and 30 minutes, no traffic. But with traffic, you're talking half a day to get up there. So it's unfeasible at the moment, but I am going to keep an eye on this because it's local and it does sort of affect what's going on here. And again, 2,200 homes were displaced by this. And, again, you can see the footage. It's pretty bad. And remember, this footage is made with infrared because you can't see the gas leak with your natural eye. So they had to do infrared video. And once you see it, it's pretty bad. Again, it's just billowing up into the sky. And I can't help but think that we haven't heard about this because the global elite want this kind of thing to happen. And they want some sort of destruction and all this stuff. So we got to be in prayer over this kind of thing. I'm going to keep my finger on the pulse and I'll report whatever I can when stuff comes up. But otherwise, at the very least, anyone who's buying mainstream media rhetoric, this is just proof right here that it's all nonsense. Thanks for watching my video. Please share it with friends, family, and whoever else you think might benefit from this information. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the Face Like the Sun YouTube channel and dig around the archives. I have hundreds of videos covering topics ranging from angels, aliens, and the Antichrist to global conspiracies of the New World Order, eugenics, genetics, Genesis 6, the Nephilim, transhumanism, and much more. And don't forget to check out my full-length documentaries, Age of Deceit, Fallen Angels and the New World Order, and Age of Deceit 2, Alchemy, and the Rise of the Beast Image, all of which you can watch totally for free right here on the Face Like the Sun YouTube channel. Have an awesome day. God bless.